like to think of stress as not necessarily a bad thing. It can, depending on how we manage it and how long we experience it, be something that affects us kind of more negatively. But stress isn't necessarily bad in and of itself. It actually serves a purpose because it helps us to prepare to get out of those situations. It helps us to prepare for those situations so we can work our way out of it. So for example, if I fear that I'm going to be late to a meeting, so last night I had a nightmare that I was going to miss a string of meetings. What that does, it helps me to prepare so I can leave earlier, so I can plan better, so I can identify, how I can make it to that meeting on time so it doesn't affect my work and doesn't subsequently affect my, obligations. So it, doesn't give me a write-up or something where I get into trouble. What chronic stress does is that our body does not receive a signal to return to normal functioning. So usually when we experience an acute stressor or acute stress, so that means like right now in that moment, that's something that's stressful to us, then our body returns back to normal. So let's say if our pulse starts to quicken, our heart's racing, we're breathing faster, after that threat has gone, then our body returns to normal. But the issue with chronic stress is if that stressor continues to be there longer term, so COVID-19 is a stressor that we're all facing that's not going away anytime soon that we know of. So it's constantly posing a threat to us. That may be how we perceive it, that the threat is not going away. And so the body does not receive that signal that you can return to normal functioning. And what that does is it can affect our immune system. It can affect our digestive system, cardiovascular. So if you think of our blood pressure and things like that, our sleep, we need good restorative sleep in order to function better. And when we're under stress, and chronic stress especially, it can disrupt our sleep, which then can also affect our immune system. Chronic stress can also affect our reproductive systems. And so over time, stress may contribute to things like heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, mental health disorders, and other illnesses. So if you start to recognize, when I feel a certain way, these are the things that I do, you're able to better nip it in the bud. So having an awareness of like, how am I feeling? And then how does that affect how I act? Maybe the thoughts that you're having. So if you're having thoughts that, I'm feeling really overwhelmed and I can't handle this, and then that leads you to freeze, right? When you feel like you have so much to do that you just freeze and you don't get any of it done, then it's important to recognize that. So it really comes down to, how do I respond in a stressful situation? What are the things that might be affecting me right now? And making space and time to kind of reflect on that and recognize how that is affecting you and how is that affecting your life. Right now with COVID-19, we're having to think a little more creatively about our coping mechanisms because again, they've been limited. So for example, if I typically go out to a gym and now I can't do that safely, how can I still get regular exercise? How can I eat healthy food even when, again, there are limitations and I'm having to do things very quickly, or I feel like I'm having to pick something up quickly because I just don't have enough time. So I think taking what we would traditionally do, eating well, getting good sleep, exercising, and connecting with others, those are still coping strategies that we can engage in. We just have to get a little more creative with how we do them. And then relaxation and breathing exercises or mindfulness exercises. So just taking a time to set aside maybe a minute, 2, 3, 4, 5, ideally 10 to 15 to 20 a day to engage in some kind of breathing and regular mindfulness exercises just to help kind of ground yourself and relax. And then over time, like I said, with practice, doing this, kind of building into your schedule almost. So it's like, if you have a busy day, maybe before you go to sleep, practicing exercises like breathing exercises or meditation exercises can help you both with your sleep, but also work on your mindfulness practice. And then if people really need to, seeking professional help. and recognizing when things are getting too far, they're too much to handle, that it's okay to do that. Because we all need that support, and we're missing out on a lot of social connectedness right now with this situation. It's also important for us to find things that we enjoy, that are, again, meaningful, but also bring us a sense of joy. And that can involve getting creative, doing things like painting, gardening, listening to music, watching, even watching a series or a movie, as long as that's not used as a method to escape or avoid. If you're binge watching for hours and hours on end and you're not getting any work done, then that's kind of counterproductive, going to cause more stress because you're thinking about all the things you're missing out on. But it's really about thinking for yourself, what do I like? What do I enjoy? What's fun for me? And how can I build that into my everyday life? Or at least on a weekly basis, how can I do that?